Who am I with here today? Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Amanda Ding. I'm one of the teachers here at the music studio, and I'm currently, I guess, mainly a student though at UBC.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm doing my undergraduate degree in neuroscience. So, yeah.
Oh, as well as you're teaching piano here.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So how long have you been teaching piano at JW Music Studio?
I think, I believe almost around 4 years now, a little bit 4 to 5 maybe now.
Okay. 4 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you start?
I actually first heard about the program when I was in high school. I think this was when I was in grade 12 or 11. But I heard from my music teacher, my band teacher, that there was the JW Young Music Teacher Program. And I thought this was like the perfect opportunity for me. I think at that point I had just finished my like grade 10 RCM at that point, and I just really liked doing music. I mean, I heard about it because I was in band, and on top of that, like in high school, there was a lot of like opportunities to perform music, and so I was doing lots of music things there, and I thought this is another way for me to kind of keep exploring music and using my music knowledge. Yeah.
Okay. So you really enjoy making music and you want to continue to make music and you see this as an opportunity as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
essentially, yeah.
So you start with like the Piano Teacher Apprenticeship Program. Essentially, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit further why you joined the program? You know, besides you still want to continue to explore the program, explore music.
Yeah, I think for me, I also have been really enjoying like teaching in general. Before that, before them joining the My Music program, I actually volunteered a little bit working with a few kids at like the Coquitlam Library, like doing some reading programs there, as well as doing like some summer camp teaching. And I thought that I really liked teaching and I really liked music. And so I thought I could just bring the two together and start learning how I can use both in music setting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit what kind of musician you were before you joined the apprenticeship program?
Yeah. I think for me, I feel like I had a very classical, like very traditional style of like just learning, because I started learning piano when I was around like 7 years old, and then it was with this older Chinese lady, and
Okay.
it was very like traditional, I would say. I mean, she was great. I really liked her, and she was very kind. Which I feel like is the opposite of my old teacher, who was very strict. But
Yeah.
she was very like classical kind of inclined, and that's kind of where I got my start there.
Yeah.
But then in high school, I got more exposed to like jazz and doing learning a bit more about jazz. And yeah, I feel like back then and even now I feel like I'm someone like in a musician sense. I feel like I want to do all kinds of music, and so I try not to like restrict myself like only classical. Like I want to try like all these different genres and types. Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest changes after you joined the Piano Teacher Apprenticeship Program?
I think personally for me, the biggest change I saw was just my level of confidence in myself in general. I feel like before, like in the beginning, I was just like kind of like also like very nervous, and I wasn't too sure because I had like my own experiences of of like what my teachers were like. And I was like, I think it was kind of a balance of like, oh, like, I mean, what I know is only what they've taught me. And now kind of in this like newer environment, I wasn't sure like how much I should be combining that like old experiences of teaching and then like how I can integrate that in like the different opportunities and settings here. Because I feel like here it's not just like a very traditional, like there are like the one-on-one lessons, but I feel like also practice sessions and group lessons, those were things I never really had a lot of exposure to. But I think because of the program and how there was like a lot of support in between and a lot of opportunities to like ask questions and really explore all those different types of learning music, I would say like confidence in myself is like has grown.
Okay.
Exponentially.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue to the next question. So in the early weeks of training or early weeks of you joining the program, how would you describe your experience? What did you learn?
Yeah, I think one of the first things that really stuck with me was the like whole aspect of integrating singing with learning piano, because that was definitely something I did not learn early on when I was doing piano. Actually, it was very much like, oh, you read the music and you play it, and there wasn't a lot of like let's sing the melody together and take time to actually like think about the melody in a singing sense. And so I think in the very beginning I was kind of like really trying to also integrate that into like the early beginnings of teaching.
Oh, okay, that's interesting to me. Actually, I'm kind of surprised. Can you describe a memorable moment of this entire journey with JW Music Studio?
I think the most memorable moment would probably be this. I can't remember which concert this was. I think it was like a December concert, a Christmas concert.
So they're playing Christmas song.
Yeah, it was a Christmas song. Yeah. But it somehow that probably contributed to how memorable it was. But it was my like. I think this was like my first group lesson that I ever taught ever. Yeah. And we were able to like perform a song, like me and then two other students in my group lesson performing a concert song for everyone. I think that was really memorable because I just like, even back in high school and like before like doing teaching, I was never a really big soloist, I would say, and I found the greatest joy making music with someone, like duets, trios, ensembles. And so kind of having that opportunity again with my students to do that and sharing that joy, I think that was really memorable up on stage. Yeah.
Okay. So how would you describe your first teaching experience when you starting teaching the teach the practice session? Well, but first of all, can you describe first what is a practice session?
Yeah, so a practice session is basically students who are taking lessons here. They have an opportunity to also join in on these practice sessions where they take stuff they learned from their lesson, from their classes, and then have a dedicated like 30-minute time to work on those things in a practice session with a couple of other students. And so, yeah, the practice session, I think there was like 3 other students who all had like some homework they had to do from their lesson. And so they were just reviewing the pieces they were assigned and working on those like difficult areas.
Okay. So how would you describe your experience teaching it?
Yeah, so the very first teaching experience I had was, the practice session. And I would say I think I was quite nervous because I think I just wasn't entirely sure. Like, I guess it was a whole confidence thing as well too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like, is my singing weird? Like, am I singing the melody correctly? And I was trying to also do some accompaniment on the side while they like were going through their pieces, and that was also a new thing to me too. And so it was also like, does my accompaniment sound weird? Like, do they think I don't know what I'm doing? Like it was a lot of like overthinking and just kind of like, am I doing the right thing? I hope I didn't like teach them something wrong and then brought it into class and the teacher's like, what happened in the practice session?
I'm sure you did not.
Okay. Yeah, but those were all part of the thoughts I had during that initial part. So.
Yeah, because some of those students actually was my students.
Yeah,
so
I was thinking that. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna teach them something and they're gonna show up to your class and they're gonna be like, Amanda told me to do this, and you'd be like,
But as much as your memory though, in the starting stages of you teaching your practice session, did you just go alone or?
I don't think so. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, I think Weewin was there for a lot of the practice sessions as well, giving me like lots of feedback and support afterwards. So yeah, even though I'm very sure like in the beginning I was a little bit of a nervous mess, afterwards I think Weewin gave me like a lot of great like feedback and tips, and she also really helped with the confidence aspect too, because like sometimes there were parts where I was unsure if I was like teaching like not just like the correct thing but teaching it in a way that was useful for the student. She helped like provide some confidence and like, yes, like that's like a great way, like a great idea to convey that solution or problem.
And before you teach the practice session, what type of support did you receive?
I think I did receive a lot of like support like before, actually like just jumping in. Like it wasn't just like I was left in the deep end. That's it was, I do remember like there was a lot of prep beforehand, and I think like getting to become more familiar with the music and like the books that were actually being used at the studio, and just like a lot of like emailing back and forth. There was a lot of like, I think like you or Weewin asked me like, like how would you like teach this section, or like what is the, I guess, trickiest part you would say like for this music. And I think that gave me a lot of like time to also think about like how I should be approaching like these music pieces and songs, and like deconstructing it in a way that was easy for a student who didn't have as much experience to digest. And so I think that did like definitely help prepare me in the beginning, because when I first went in, I think I was able to like more quickly like see like, this is going to be a problem section, and this part is a different pattern, so we need to do something a little bit different here. So I think I got like really good preparation for that.
I just want to focus on that a little bit more. So beside the email communication, what other format of support did you receive?
I got also, there was a lot of meetings, I remember too, like on Zoom, and I think at the time, I think there were like
that was during the pandemic.
Yeah, it was during the pandemic, so it was a little bit, I think, a little bit more difficult to do a lot of things in person. I think we did end up having like an in-person session where we got to like explore a little bit more with like accompaniment, like learning how to do accompaniment well in the practice session, things like that. But yeah, I think there was like a lot of Zoom calls where similarly we like went over some difficult parts, and I think you asked some really great questions about like approaching all these different pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do feel like you're not throwing into the
Oh,
deep end.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. I know. Okay, but which part of the training did you find most helpful or transformative for you?
I think the most transformative part, and this is just kind of me like looking back, like overall, like even now I still receive lots of support in my lessons. I feel like one of the most transformative parts was like having like we would sit in on my lessons and like take notes and like right afterwards like debrief on like this is what she saw and this was because like for me personally I really like receiving like direct feedback on like okay this is what happened in a class and then this is like where it might need some more improvements and like some suggestions on how to improve that aspect. Like I like receiving that kind of like structured feedback and I think most people do. But yeah, I think that was where I saw the most growth in myself because then I was able to like take those suggestions and feedback and like apply it the next week at my next lesson like right away, and then I could see like oh like okay so this activity like does work for these students, or like maybe this activity doesn't work for this type of student, and like then doing that whole like feedback troubleshooting process again. I think that was where I saw the most impact and growth.
Okay. So if someone is interested to join the Piano Teacher Apprenticeship Program at JW Music Studio, but they are not very sure, what would you say to them?
Just do it. I think this actually kind of reminds me of a quote from like I was like at a dinner with my like science cohort at UBC, and there was a guest speaker. He's actually like a professor at UBC, and he was talking about like because I know it's like a little bit interesting how like I'm not even like studying music at UBC in my post-secondary education, but I think this quote I feel like really like applies here, where he said like, you know, if you even have like a remote amount of interest in something, like just go for it. Like you don't know where you're gonna end up or like what's gonna ultimately happen. And so even if you have like a remote amount of interest, like why not just like do it and try it out and see what happens? Because you don't know what's gonna happen. And,
well, yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
And finally, what did you learn the most about yourself through all this teaching experience and training and all of that, mentorship and all that?
I learned, I feel like there's a lot of like little things that I've like picked up throughout. I think I definitely learned that like how I like to receive feedback. I think that's a great thing. I feel like, especially as like a younger teacher and like, because since I kind of started in high school, I feel like there's not a lot of opportunities for very like direct, like someone observing you and like what you're doing and then receiving like direct feedback to improve that. Because a lot of times it's like just like a classroom setting and you're just like doing things. But I just feel like I learned that, okay, like this structure of feedback is what helps me grow. And I learned how to also, just be more confident in just communication overall as well. I think like as you start to do like more teaching and you're like communicating with the studio, communicating with the students, but then also you're doing a lot of communication with like parents of the students. And I think like one thing that I really learned about myself as well is just like how much I really like the communication aspect, because you're just like talking so much with other people to like convey like, oh, this is what's happening in our lesson. And then just having like a long journey with many different students, that's something I've learned that I really like. And yeah.
Wow, thanks so much for speaking with
Yeah,
me today,
thank you.
Amanda. And we really appreciate you to be here. And thanks for your hard work. And always try your best to teach the student to be the best too. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.